Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on November 13th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Pangon Langayate Girim Sri Gurum Dinatharinam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Hari Om.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, today we will continue with the compilation of Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Today's chapter is entitled Three Principal Forms of Bhagavan. Second, Tadekatma Rupa. B. Swamsa, Personal Expansions. First, Purushavatara, Part 2.1. Under the section, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami in the science of absolute truth. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.268.
এক স্বীয় বৈকুণ্ঠে শেষ পর্যাঙ্কে কারণার্ণব বা বিরজাশায়ী প্রকৃতির অন্তর্যামী ব্রহ্মাণ্ড কারণ স্রষ্টা সেই পুরুষ বিরজাতে করেন শয়ন কারণ দক্ষায়ী নাম জগত কারণ.
The original personality of Godhead named Shankarshana first lies down in the river Biraja, which serve as a border between the material and the spiritual world. As Karanabdishayi Vishnu, he is the original cause of the material creation.
Karanabdishayi Vishnu, Mahavishnu, creates the unlimited millions of universes.
The Karanabdishayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu creates the unlimited millions of universes.
And the elements.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.269.
বিরজা ও করণাব্দির এক পারে তুরীয় পরব্রহ্ম বা চিদ্বৈভব বৈকুণ্ঠ, অপর পারে মায়াবিলাস বা অচিদ্বৈভব প্রকৃত দেবীধাম। করণাব্ধি পারে মায়ার নিত্য অবস্থিতি, বিরজার পারে পরব্রহ্মে নাহি গতি.
The Viraja or causal ocean is the border between the spiritual and the material world. The material energy is situated on one shore of that ocean, and it cannot enter onto the other shore, which is the spiritual sky.
So here we understand the Viraja River is the border between the material and spiritual worlds.
So from here we understand that the Viraja River is the border between the material and spiritual world.
But here it also describes that the Viraja River actually is the causal ocean.
But here it also describes that the Viraja River is the causal ocean.
Mahavishnu, Karanabdishayi Vishnu, lies down in the causal ocean.
That Mahavishnu, Karanabdishayi Vishnu, lies down in the causal ocean. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.270.
বৈকুণ্ঠের মাহাত্ম্য শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতে দ্বিতীয় স্কন্ধে নবম অধ্যায় 10 নম্বর শ্লোক.
Pravartate yatra rajastamotayo sattvam cha mishram na kala vikramaha na yatra maya kim utapare harir anuvrata yatra sura asura surarchitaha. In the spiritual world, there is neither the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, nor a mixture of both, nor is there adulterated goodness, the influence of time or Maya herself. Only the pure devotees of the Lord, who are worshipped both by demigods and demons, reside in the spiritual world as the Lord's associates. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.10, was spoken by Srila Shukadeva Goswami. He was answering the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, who asked how the living entity falls down into the material world. Shukadeva Goswami explained the cream of Bhagavatam in 4 verses, which had been explained to Lord Brahma at the end of the severe austerity he performed for 1000 celestial years. At that time, Brahma was shown the spiritual world and its transcendental nature.
This is a very important question.
So this is a very important question.
How do we fall down on the material world, to the material world from the spiritual world?
How did we fall down to the material world from the spiritual world?
This is a question that many people have.
This is a question that many people have.
So, the answer is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
So the answer is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20.271.
মায়ার 2 রূপে দ্বিবিধা বৃত্তি, ক প্রকৃতি ও খ প্রধানের কার্য। মায়ার যে 2 বৃত্তি, মায়া আর প্রধান, মায়া নিমিত্ত হেতু প্রধান বিশ্বের উপাদান।
Maya has 2 functions. One is called Maya and the other is called Pradhana. Maya refers to the efficient cause and Pradhana refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation. Purport: for a further explanation, see Adi Leela chapter 5 verse 58.
The material world is created by Maya.
So the material world is created by Maya.
And Pradhana refers to all the ingredients that Brahma takes to construct.
Pradhana refers to all the ingredients that Brahma takes to construct
A secondary creation of the planets and the bodies.
the secondary creation of the planets and the bodies. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 20.272.
প্রকৃতির প্রতি কারণোদকশায়ীর ঈক্ষণ, সেই পুরুষ মায়াপানে করে অবধান, প্রকৃতি ক্ষোভিত করি করে বীর্যের আধান।
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead glances over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semen of the living entities. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.10, Krishna says, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam, I am the original seed of all existence. This is confirmed in another verse in the Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Sarva yoni shikantaya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. For a further explanation, one may refer to the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verses 10 to 13. Brahma Samhita also states in 5.51, Agnir maham gaganamambu maruddishascha kalas tatatma manasiti jagat trayani Yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yam cha govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. All material elements as well as the spiritual spark, individual souls are emanating from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra 1.1 Janmat Yashayataha. The Absolute Truth is He from whom everything emanates. He is the Supreme Truth, Satyam Param Dhimahi, Bhagavatam 1.1.1. The Absolute Ultimate True is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmat Yashayato Anvayat Itaratas Abhiknyaswarat. The Absolute Truth is a person who is directly and indirectly cognizant of the entire cosmic manifestation. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. The Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, educated Lord Brahma from the heart. Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Therefore, the Absolute Truth cannot be dull matter. The Absolute Truth must be the Supreme Person Himself. Shei Purush Maya Pane Kore Abodan. Simply by His glance, material nature is impregnated with all living entities. According to their karma and fruitive activity, they merge in different bodies. That is the explanation given by the Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Jiva Shakti is needed for the law for bringing the material elements to life.
So, the Jiva Shakti is needed for bringing the material element to life.
And that Jiva Shakti is expanded from Mahavishnu.
And that Jiva Shakti is expanded from Mahavishnu.
And thus the material energy is agitated, it comes to life.
Thus the material energy is agitated and it comes to life.
The original cause of all causes is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The original cause of all causes is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.273.
স্বয়ং শুদ্ধ হইয়াও অশুদ্ধের ন্যায় প্রতীত সংকল্প মাত্রেই প্রকৃতি স্পর্শ ও প্রকৃতি জনিতে লোমকূপস্থ অনন্ত চিৎ পরমাণু জীব শক্তি নিধান সাঙ্গ বিশেষ আভাস রূপে প্রকৃতি স্পর্শন জীব রূপ বীজ তাতে কৈলা সমার্পণ.
To impregnate with the seeds of living entities, the Lord Himself does not directly touch the material energy, but by His specific functional expansion, He touches the material energy, and thus the living entities who are His parts and parcels are impregnated into material nature. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, according to Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Amai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manashashtani Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. In the present verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the word Prakriti Sparshan refers to the Lord's glancing over the material nature and placing the living entities in contact with dull matter. The glancing is performed by Mahavishnu. Sa aikshata lokanusraja iti. Aitreya Upanishad 1.1.11. And in the conditioned stage, we impregnate according to the bodily conception, that is, by sexual intercourse. But the Supreme Lord does not need sexual intercourse to impregnate. The impregnation is performed simply by his glands. This is also explained in the Brahma Samhita 5.32. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Govinda can impregnate simply by glancing. In other words, his eyes can work as his genitals. He does not need genitals to beget a child. Indeed, Krishna can beget any one of the living entity with any part of his body. The word Swanga Vishesha Abhasha Rupe, indicating the form by which the Lord begets the living entities in the material world, is explained herein. He is Lord Shiva. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Lord Shiva, who is another form of Lord Mahavishnu, is like yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, yet it is not milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is considered the father of this universe, and the material nature is considered the mother. The father and mother are known as Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. Together, Lord Shiva's genitals and the vagina of Goddess Durga are worshipped as the Shiva Linga. This is the origin of the material creation. Thus, Lord Shiva's position is between that of the living entity and that of the Supreme Lord. In other words, Lord Shiva is neither the Supreme Personality of Godhead nor a living entity. He is the form through which the Supreme Lord works to beget living entities within this material world. As yogurt is prepared when milk is mixed with a culture, the form of Lord Shiva expands when the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in touch with material nature. The impregnation of material nature by the Father, Lord Shiva, is wonderful because at one time innumerable living entities are conceived. Bhago jivasa vishayah sa chanantyaya kalpate. Shvetaswara Upanishad 5.9. The living entities are very, very small. Keshagra shatabhagasya shatamsha shadrisatmakaha jiva shukma swarupoyam sankyatito hi chitkanaha. If we divide the tip of a hair into 100 parts and then take one of these parts and divide it again into 100 parts, that very fine division is the size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are all chitkana, particles of spirit, not matter. The innumerable Brahmandas or universes come from the pores of the Lord's body, and innumerable living entities also come from the pores of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is the process of material creation. Without the living entities, the material nature has no value. Both emanate from the pores of the transcendental body of Mahavishnu, but they are different energies. The material nature is explained as follows by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4. Bhumi rapor anulo vayu kham mano buddhir evacha ahankara itiyam me binna prakritir ashtadaha. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are all together. These 8 constitute my separate material energies. Thus, the material elements also come from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they are a different type of energy from the living entities. Although the living entities also come from the Lord's body, they are categorized as superior energy. Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim viddhime param jivabhutam mahabhavo yayedam daryate jagat. Beside this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Bhagavad Gita 7.5. The inferior energy matter cannot act without the superior energy. All these things are very clearly explained in the Vedas. The materialistic theory that life develops from matter is incorrect. Life and matter come from the supreme living entity. Therefore, being the source of both, that supreme living entity Krishna is described in the Vedanta Sutra as Janmati Yasya Yataha 1.1, or the original source of everything, Sarva Karana Karanam. This is further explained in the following verse.
So the external energy of earth, water, air, fire, air, ether,
So the external energy of earth, water, fire, air, ether,
mind, intelligence, false ego,
mind, intelligence, and false ego
is considered an inferior inert energy.
is considered as inferior inert energies.
The jivas are conscious living entities,
So the jivas are conscious living entities
and they're impregnated within the material nature.
and they are impregnated within the material nature.
They are given different bodies according to their karma.
And they are given different bodies according to their karma.
So they live forever.
And they live forever.
But they change one body to another body.
But they change one body to another body.
So as long as they're in the material world, they go through this evolution.
As long as they are in the material world, they go through this evolution.
The idea that matter enters this life is erroneous.
So the idea that matter produces life is erroneous.
Life comes from life.
Life comes from life.
Because the spirit soul is alive, it can make the material energy appear alive.
Because the spirit soul is alive, it can make the material matter to look alive, to appear alive. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.274.
জীব ও তাহার ভোগায়তন ২৭টি তত্ত্বের উৎপত্তির ইতিবৃত্ত, প্রকৃতির আদি পরিণাম ও বিষাঙ্কুর চিত্তরূপী মহত্তত্ত্বের উৎপত্তির কারণ। শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতে ৩য় অধ্যায়ে ২৬ অধ্যায়ের ১৯ নম্বর শ্লোক।
Daivat Kshubita Dharminyam Swasyam Yono Parav Puman Adhatta Viryam Sa Suta Mahattattvam Hiranmayam. At a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into three qualities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of that material nature. Thus, material nature gave birth to the total material energy known as the Hiranmaya Mahattattva, the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.26.19. Lord Kapila is explaining to his mother the relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and material nature. He is informing her how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original cause of the living entities who are conditioned by material nature. Over and above the 28 elements of material creation is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. Life comes not from matter, but from life itself, as explained in the Vedas. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam. Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. The Supreme Lord is the original source of life.
Very important to understand
It's very important. This is very important to understand.
Superior energy, which is the minute Jiva Shaktis,
That the superior energy, which is the minute Jiva Shaktis,
has consciousness.
has consciousness.
Matter does not.
Matter does not.
And the living entity is put inside of the material energy.
When the living entity is put inside into the material energy,
material energy appears to have consciousness,
material energy appears to have consciousness,
which is spread throughout the body through the soul.
which is spread throughout this body through the soul, throughout the body through the soul. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.275.
জীবশক্তির প্রাকট্য ইতিহাস শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতে তৃতীয় স্কন্ধ পঞ্চম অধ্যায় 26 নম্বর শ্লোক।
Kalabritaya tu mayayam gunamayam adokshajah purushenatma bhutena viryam adhata viryavan. In due course of time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mahavaikuntanatha, by the agency of an expansion of his personal self Mahavishnu, placed the seed of living entities within the womb of material nature. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.5.26. This verse tells how the living entities come in contact with material nature. Just as a woman cannot beget children without uniting with a man, material nature cannot beget living entities without being in union with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a history of how the Absolute Truth becomes the father of all living entities. In every system of religion, it is accepted that God is the Supreme Father of all living entities. According to Christianity, the Supreme Father God provides the living entities with all life's necessity. Therefore they pray, "Give us this day our daily bread." Any religion that does not accept the Supreme Lord as the Absolute Father is called Kaitava Dharma, or a cheating religion. Such religious systems are rejected in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Dharma prochita kaitavotra. Only an atheist does not accept the omnipotent Supreme Father. If one accepts the omnipotent Supreme Father, he abides by his orders and becomes a religious person.
Practically, Supreme Personality Godhead is the father of all living entities.
Practically, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the father of all living entities.
In the material world, the material energy is the mother.
In the material world, the material energy is the mother.
The Lord, the Supreme Lord, simply has to glance over the material nature.
The Supreme Lord simply has to glance over the material nature.
And all living entities enter into each universe.
And all the living entities enter into each universe.
Of the million unlimited universes.
Of the millions unlimited universes.
In this way, Krishna through his expansions.
In this way, Krishna through his expansions
is the seed-giving father.
Is the seed-giving father. Hari Bol. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.276.
ব্রহ্মাণ্ডের উপাদান চয়ন মহত্তত্ত্ব হইতে অহংকার ত্রয়, তবে মহত্তত্ত্ব হইতে ত্রিবিধ অহংকার, যাহা হইতে দেবতেন্দ্রিয় ভূতের প্রচার.
First, the total material energy is manifested, and from this arise the three types of egotism, which are the original sources from which all demigods, the controlling deities, senses and material elements expand. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, the three types of egotism, ahankara, are technically known as Vaikarika, Taijasa and Tamasa. The Mahatattva is situated within the heart or Chitta, and the predominating deity of Mahatattva is Lord Vasudeva. Bhagavatam 3.26.21. The Mahatattva is transformed into three divisions: Vaikarika, egotism in goodness; Satvika Ahankara, from which is manifested the 11th sense organ, the mind, whose predominating deity is Aniruddha. Bhagavatam 3.26.27 to 28. Taijasa or egotism in passion; Rajasa Ahankara, from which are manifested the active and knowledge acquiring senses, along with the intelligence whose predominating deity is Lord Pradyumna. Bhagavatam 3.26.29 to 31. And 3. Tamasa or egotism in ignorance, from which sound vibration, Shabda Tanmatra, expands. From sound vibration, the sky, Akasha, is manifested. And then the senses, beginning with the sense of hearing, are also manifested. Bhagavatam 3.26.32. Of these three types of egotism, Lord Shankarshana is the predominating deity. In the philosophical discourse known as the Shankya Karika, it is stated, Satvika Ekadashakaha Pravartate Vaikritat Ahankarat Bhutades Tanmatram Tamasa Taijasadi Vayam.
So when object or sense is created,
When the object of the sense is created,
that there's a controlling deity of the
with that there is a controlling deity of the activity.
There's a sense that's able to perceive the different element.
There is a sense which is able to perceive the different elements.
Like to hear something, ear will be produced.
Like to hear something, and ear would be produced.
First, the air, sound is transmitted to the air.
So first the sound is transmitted through the air.
The Deva, a demigod in charge of this aspect.
The Deva or demigod in charge of this aspect.
And then the sense which receives it.
And then the sense which receives it
are all created. And
That's why every living entity has a certain range that they can see, hear, smell.
So that's why every living entity has a certain range through which they can see, hear, smell.
A human being cannot smell as fine as a dog.
A human being cannot smell as fine as a dog.
But maybe a human being can see.
Maybe the human being can see
better than some animals. Like every living creature has an area of seeing, hearing, smelling.
So, like this, every living creature has an area of seeing, living, and hearing, etc.
And all these things are created by the Lord.
And all these things are created by the Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.277.
28টি তত্ত্বযুক্ত অনন্ত ব্রহ্মাণ্ড সৃষ্টি সর্বতত্ত্ব মিলি সৃজিল ব্রহ্মাণ্ডের গণ অনন্ত ব্রহ্মাণ্ড তাহার নাহিকো গণন.
Combining all the different elements, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Those universes are unlimited in number. There is no possibility of counting them.
So, the Lord creates unlimited millions of universes.
So the Lord creates unlimited numbers of universes.
which are a combination of all the different energies
which are
and
combined,
elements.
which are a combined combination of all the different elements.
All these universes are created by the Supreme Lord.
All these universes are created by the Supreme Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.278.
ইনি মহত্তত্ত্বর স্রষ্টা মহাবিষ্ণু। ইহার লোমকূপেই অনন্ত চিৎ পরমাণু জীব। ইহ মহৎ স্রষ্টা পুরুষ মহাবিষ্ণু নাম। অনন্ত ব্রহ্মাণ্ড তার লোমকূপে ধাম।
The first form of Lord Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He is the original creator of the total material energy. The innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his body.
All these details of creation may be explained very detailed or very simply.
So, these details of creation can be maybe explained very in detail or very simply.
And this is a simple explanation.
This is a simple explanation. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.279 to 280.
তাহার নিঃশ্বাসে ব্রহ্মাণ্ডের সৃষ্টি, প্রশ্বাসে প্রলয়। গবাক্ষে উড়িয়া জইছে, রেণু আসে যায়। পুরুষ নিঃশ্বাস সহ ব্রহ্মাণ্ড বাহিরায়। পুনরপি নিঃশ্বাস সহ যাহা অভ্যন্তর। অনন্ত ঐশ্বর্যতার সব মায়া পার।
These universes are understood to be floating in the air that Mahavishnu exhales. They are like atomic particles that float in sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by exhalation of Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu inhales, they re-enter in his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu are completely beyond material conception.
One breath of Mahavishnu
One breath of Mahavishnu
is equal to the life of Lord Brahma in each universe.
is equivalent to the life of Lord Brahma in each universe.
So this is totally beyond the calculation
So this is totally beyond the calculation
or any material means.
by any material means.
And until scientists can never discover the truth,
And the material scientists can never discover the truth.
that these things are beyond their scope of observation.
Because these things are beyond the scope of observation. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.281.
ব্রহ্মসংহিতায় 5:48।
यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथः विष्णुर्महान् सह्ययस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. The Brahmas and other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary portion. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. This is a quotation from Brahma Samhita 5.48. For an explanation, refer to Adi Leela, chapter 5, verse 71. Thus ends the part 2.1 of the chapter entitled The Three Principal Forms of Bhagavan. 2. Tadekatma Rupa. B. Swamsa. Personal Expansion. 1. Purushavatara. Under the section, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami in the science of the Absolute Truth.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.